What is up, New Era Sens fans? Jackson here bringing you guys another weekly report, and we got a lot to get through this week, so let's get started. The Logan Brown drama continues here in Ottawa. This past Sunday, the 11th overall pick from 2016 was recalled to the taxi squad. However, this move wouldn't last long, as on Wednesday it was announced he was being sent down to Belleville. Now, of course, with the announcement that the AHL was coming back with a 5-team Canadian division, this move does make sense in the sense that it can get Brown some reps, he can play some games before getting called up to the Sens again, maybe can build some confidence. Derek Stephan rumors are starting to heat up here in Ottawa. Last Sunday, the Ottawa Sen's Bruce Garriock reported on Twitter, and I quote, Derek Stephan was excited to get dealt to the Sens, but the reality of not seeing his family until May 8th makes the situation difficult. The couple has 3 children, including a newborn, and any visit would require a 14-day quarantine. Now, this is interesting because Pierre Dorian did recently report live on TSN that Stephan has not indicated to him that he wishes to be traded to a U.S. team. You do have to feel for Derek Stephan here. I think deep down he probably does wish he could be closer to his family down in Scottsdale, Arizona. However, it's a lot more difficult than that. I think it's going to be tough to try and find a suitor for his $6.5 million cap hit for the rest of the year. Any move is going to require Ottawa either taking back a bad contract or retaining somewhere between 20 and 50% of that contract hit there. Going on to game action. Ottawa's first game of the week is a 3-1 loss to Edmonton on February the 8th. Things were looking up going into this game. Matt Murray had been playing really well, enters the game with a .943 save percentage, which is, elite in terms of goaltending stats. His first stop is off a McDavid shot in the slot, so a high dangerous chance there. Things are looking pretty good. Very physical start too. Branstrom's hit hard by Josh Archibald in the corner. Austin Watson and Jujhar Khaira immediately get into a fight, which is followed by Eric Branson and Zach Kassian fighting. Zach Kassian would actually leave the game with an undisclosed injury, and we've since learned that he's week to week with an injury. So you have to assume that was from the fight there. Now, Evgeny Dadonov gets a bit of a lucky break. Off a nice pass from Brady Tkachuk, however, but gets a shot that goes off Adam Larson, bar down, gets past Mike Smith, who had been playing really well, actually. He's playing the puck a lot, making it hard for the Senators to generate any offense. Fortunately, later on, Brandstrom is unable to clear a puck, and Draisaitl scores off of that. Looks like some growing pains, but we do know now that Brandstrom was hurt on that play, so he could have been feeling the effects of that and just kind of was unable to make a play. After the game, it was announced that Brandstrom would be out for about a week with an injury. We're hoping to see him come play Toronto here on Monday. Tyler Ennis with a nice curl and drag to beat Matt Murray takes the lead on the Sens. There was some tough refereeing in that game, though. There was a delay of game where Larson was definitely beyond the blue, so that's a tough call for the Oilers there. Then there was the missed hook on Tim Stützle, Colin White at the end there where he was interfered with and had the net knocked off, but was called for a penalty. So just strange stuff like that. Archibald gets the empty net and it's game over. Positives from that one, it's another competitive effort and another stellar performance from Matt Murray, just not able to get in the win column. Going into the second game of the week, a back-to-back with Edmonton on February the 9th, Christian Wolanin draws back into the lineup here after missing some time with an injury. Nice to see him back in with Brandy being out. Another puck-moving guy that can help the Senators' blue line there. Connor Brown redirects a puck high in the slot to score a 5-hole on Mikko Koskinen just 26 seconds into the game. Good to see him get one. He's getting a lot of chances and not getting rewarded for it. And great on Zaitsev to find a lane to the net there. Same story we've been seeing for a while, though. Holberg lets in a late goal 5-hole to tie the game from a low-danger shot from Darnell Nurse. These kind of goals just can't happen. It's really deflating for a young team. Begins to look like he's settling into the first period there. He makes a nice stop on McDavid point blank, but then he does let another seeing eye shot from Evan Bouchard's point shot. Another late reaction there. Doesn't really react until it's past his right pad. So another weak goal. Then on the third goal, Tyson Barrie takes advantage of Holberg struggling once again to get from the right to the left side of his crease. Pushes off a little too hard maybe and just loses his net behind him, and Tyson Barrie burns him. Another rough outing for Holberg, it's looking like. So Matt Murray comes in, starts to shut the door. Mike Riley with a beautiful stretch pass to Dadonov actually early in the third to make it 3-2. And Matt Murray does get an assist in that play. So one of those games where the Sens did outplay the Oilers, I think. Just some tough goaltending. Another tough one for Holberg, which you hate to see. But Murray came in relief and was stellar. Next up, the Sens head to Winnipeg for a 2-game series with the Jets. Artem Zub is ruled out of this first game with an inconclusive COVID test. That's a tough loss. He's been really good for the Sens ever since he entered the lineup. Just a really steady presence back there. And this game was pretty similar to what we've seen with the Sens. They start out strong. There was a comically bad line change, but a combination of a great back check from Batherson and a big save from Murray do keep that game tied at 0-0. However, 8 seconds into the second period, a puck bounces on Murray when he comes out to try and play it, and Stastny buries that 1-0 Jets. Tough to fault Murray on that one. He was just trying to play the puck. Kind of an unlucky bounce. And then later in the period, Dylan DeMello reps a one-timer from the point that goes off Evgeny Dadonov's shin pad and in, so it's 2-0 Jets. Matt Murray actually gets clipped on the penalty kill by Nikita Zaitsev. Does lose his paddle, but then makes a nice save by dropping the pad down. However, never fully recovers, and Wheeler scores to make it 3-0. So just a bit of a frustrating game here. Third period starts with Marcus Holberg in the net. We would learn later on that's because Matt Murray is hurt, of course. Unfortunately, that's in another light goal from trying to move right to left again. Matthew Perreault takes advantage of that and scores on him. Norris with a nice little spin move to make it 4-1, but the game's already over at that point, and Pionk actually scores shortly after on a wraparound to make it 5-1 and ice the game. So just another, we've seen this one before. Sens start good, get a lot of shots, look like they have a lot of energy. Then they have to face some adversity, go down a goal, and then they just kind of fell apart then. So it's a young team, and they're going to learn to respond. It's part of the process of a rebuild. They'll get there. Going into the second game against Winnipeg, we got some big news in the form of a trade. Ryan Dzingel gets traded back to Ottawa for forwards Cedric Paquette and Alex Galchenyuk. Now, I'm actually a big fan of this trade. I do like Alex Galchenyuk. I think I mentioned him in the last video that I like what he was doing. I don't think Cedric Paquette has been a good fit for the Sens. And you know what? It's great to get a familiar face back into Dzingel. I think he's the kind of guy that's definitely an NHL player, no question marks. And he can play a top six role or even slot into the bottom six. He brings a lot of speed to the offense, which is great to see. So Matt Murray's out of this one with that upper body injury sustained in that Zaitsev collision from last game, which means Holberg gets to start. I was hesitant about this at first. I wanted to give Gustafsson a start with how Holberg has been struggling, but boy was I wrong. Holberg stands on his head and the Sens end up winning this one 2-1 with a great last-minute redirect shot from Brady Tkachuk. That's a huge win. That's a confidence builder. It's good defensive effort there, and the Sens just are another competitive game, and that's going to happen. When you play competitive, you get rewarded, and this was a perfect example of it. The Belleville Sens, they start off the season on a pretty rough note, dropping 2 games to the Laval Rocket, 5-1 in both games. Tough one. There were some standout performances. I think Formanton looked really good. Vitaly Abramov looked really good. Lassie Thompson's looking great coming over to the North American ice. Ridley Gregg, for an 18-year-old, one of the youngest players in the draft, he's playing really solid. I would love to see more from Logan Brown. I think he's a good power play guy. At times, he shows signs of brilliance in the offensive zone, but there's just an effort thing there. He's got to keep moving his legs. He's got to put more of an effort into the defensive side of the game. I think if he shows that he can put that all together, he'll get a call up to the Sens, but that all has to kind of be in place in order for that to happen. I would love to see Foreman get a chance on the big roster too, just because of that speed. I think that will translate really well to the NHL level, and it is very possible that Formanton or Abramov come up before Logan Brown does. Last but not least, Shane Pinto continued to dominate, continued to impress all fans here. Scores 2 goals in North Dakota's 3-0 win over Denver. Boy, is he starting to look like a big prospect for this rebuild. He's winning face-offs, he's scoring a lot of goals, and he's just a true leader on that North Dakota team. It's huge. We definitely need a guy who can come in and win face-offs for us, and I think he'll fit that kind of 2C role eventually. We do have a lot of center prospects, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, but I would pencil Shane Pinto in for this rebuild. I think he's going to be a really good player, and the Hobey Baker voting is open, so if you can, go drop a vote for Shane Pinto. Let's see our boy win the Hobey Baker there. That is pretty much all we have for this week's report. If you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe. We're going to be rolling out these reports every single week. It's a great way to stay updated and follow the Sens. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next week.